Question: who out there used to or does at the present time love to watch renovation shows? People that fix up houses and things of that nature. Let's talk about this back in a minute. Good afternoon. Happy Easter. Happy Sunday. Hope that everyone finds this audio video doing very well on this Sunday afternoon chat. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Jan, and I love helping people to keep some more of their own hard-earned money. And what does any of these questions have to do with hard-earned money and you're keeping it? Well, let's talk about this for a second. I don't know about you, but I was going through this phase about 10 or 15 years back where I couldn't wait for Saturdays because on Saturdays, there used to be some shows specifically that I used to like watching people, let's say, flipping houses and fixing things and renovating. And they were just so interesting. And boy, is it a lot of fun watching other people fix up their houses, the before and the after. And it's all done neatly and tied up in a ribbon within 1 hour or a half hour, as opposed to real life. And everyone knows how long that might take, right? I used to love to watch those shows, but there was a part of every show, and it made a lot of sense where the folks would go over the budget they were allowed to work with, and they put a cap on it, on the budget for this fixer-upper type project. Okay. However, in the more recent years, from when I started watching it, then some people would add what is known as a budget or cash buffer. They would take a certain amount of money, a certain number, and they would include that should there be a situation that arises unexpectedly. Now, how many folks out there listening probably had some sort of a renovation project and everything is so great, everything's going along swimmingly, and then all of a sudden you find out either through someone else or yourself or a contractor or whatever that something else needs to be done. And then all of a sudden you go what? Over budget. But because you had a budget or cash buffer on the side, expecting the unexpected, then you were ready. This rule applies to our ordinary everyday budgets as well. This is why it is very important to create or to have a budget or cash buffer. But what can we do to ensure that? I like to keep one, and I like to keep one at a certain number every single month. I don't reveal the number because I don't think that's necessary, but just know that I like to keep one because in life, we don't know what may come up along the way. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily an emergency fund. I kind of sort of differentiate that. With the budget buffer in my life or the cash buffer on a monthly basis, for me particularly, I prefer to take X number of dollars and put it on the side without thinking. Why? Because a number of things can happen during the course of a month in life, because in real life, things can happen. Example, unexpected changes in a bill. How many times you thought everything was all set in stone? No, bills are never really quite set in stone. Okay. Or unexpected situation arises and you might have to run somewhere, traveling for a family member or whatever, or somebody in your household needs a little help along the way. Because you have already set aside your budget buffer or your cash buffer, you are ready. Well, what can you do to do this? Number one, the first thing that I would say is name it and claim it. Find a number that is comfortable for you, that you're working within your budget, and set it aside. Now, some people like to do the grandma way, which is nothing wrong with that at all whatsoever. Some people prefer to, let's say, put their money aside either in an envelope or a cute little cookie jar. Hey, that's their little way of doing it, and they're comfy cozy with that. But it's great to keep things simple, and you could do it, digitally, if you will. You could just put that number aside, automated in an automated manner, every single month. Just the way we put money, we know we're going to spend on our utilities. We know we're going to spend on our roof. We know we're going to spend on certain absolute necessities, no negotiations. There's just some things in life that are non negotiable. You know what I'm trying to say? However, keeping a budget buffer or a cash buffer, in my honest opinion, is really a good way to run some of your personal finances. And just like the words do imply, the finances are personal. Could be personal finances for a family of one, personal finances for a family of more than one. But it is adapted to your situation. For example, someone might comfortably be able to set aside, let's say this figure, just because it's an easier number to remember, $100 a month. Okay, let's say that they want to set aside in their budget buffer or cash buffer $100 a month. Hey, that may be fine and dandy for someone. Someone else may only be able to do 75. Whatever that reasonable, comfortable, and predictable and realistic number is, that's what you work with. You see, but it all goes back to the same thing, getting familiar with your numbers. Do not be afraid to know your own numbers. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. And I have used this analogy many times about balloons that drift. Some people, when it comes to managing their own money, they either choose to be unaware, whether they realize it or not, and act as if balloons that are drifting, going all over the place without a specific place to land. We can't do that with money. We really should never do that with money. We need to keep track of our money. I know it sounds like a lot of work. Actually, it really is not. And there are many apps out there that can help you track your cash. And it's actually a lot easier than you think. For example, if you do sit down with your budget every single month, look at it. To me, it is like a living and breathing document. When I've alluded in the past how stockpiles, I don't believe a stockpile is a stagnant thing. Stockpiles are not a decoration, not just looking at shelves with cans and boxes and bags of rice and beans and all this and all that. No, that is an ever changing item. You replenish it, you utilize it, and it's back and forth all the time. The same thing goes with our budget. Our budgets change on a monthly basis. Your income in some cases may not change on a monthly basis, no, but the use of your income just might. Isn't it nice to know that as a result of having that little cushion, treated as a little bit of a financial cushion, knowing that that cushion is there is a good feeling. Find the number that is comfortable for you. Now, if you're finding yourself that there is no cushion to be made, well, guess what? You have to create your own cushion. Create your own cushion by increasing your income. It is amazing what just an extra $100 or $200 a month can do. It can make the difference between, well, struggling and not struggling so much, and to be able to put away that cash or budget buffer. How many of you do this right now? How many of you are thinking about it? I strongly hope that more people than not are doing this, or at the very least planning to do this. You know what I think? I think we should do just like this lady does. An amazing, fantastic day. Happy Easter, everybody. Take good care. Bye bye.